Hey everybody, David R. Becker here with BeckerArt. And welcome everybody, welcome anybody who's new. I just looked up there, somebody's from Australia. Hey Marion, wow, from Australia. Friday, and it's 10 a.m., 33 degrees Celsius, which is 80 degrees high. Wow, I wish it was that temperature here. Welcome everybody. We are going to do a little bit of ornament painting today of a ballerina. I already done it in class this afternoon, and I don't like it at all. And so we're going to try to do something a little bit differently. So our beer today, I finally found some beer. I still haven't found a place where I can get single cans, but I'm doing a Schaffenhaffe watermelon mint. And so interesting. It's going to be interesting beer to try. A German beer. Same weather in Minnesota. It's 80 degrees in Minnesota. Wow, it's not that here. Well, it was about 40 today. 40 degrees here. Wow, look at all that foam. I did terrible pour. So we'll let that rest and I'll give you. Oh, look at there's a little bit of a little bug on the end there. All right, so yeah, so I'm gonna have to show you what I did, and it's okay, but it's just my class already told me it was going to be a hard one, and it was. It was kind of a hard one, so let's see what we can do. And so let's just go over to my website first for anybody who's new. Um, my website is BeckerArt.net, or my name, David R. Becker, don't forget the R.com, and get all my information there. And anything we're painting is going to be up there. And even from 2 weeks past, you can still do those. It's all up there. Supplies today are going to be what I normally use: my Holbein watercolors, my no masking fluid. I am using Stonehenge, and my brushes, which are available on my website if you want to go find those. I'm looking to maybe get the whole set of Holbein gold brushes because they're really nice brushes, but I know some of you have asked if there's other sizes, and yes, there are. And I'm looking to maybe get the whole shebang. We'll see. We'll see about that. So let's go to our. Let me show you what I did. So, and here is what we did, or what I was gonna do. It was hold that 1 second here. Is right here. If you look at this and squint your eyes, I didn't really do a no tan design on this one for some reason, and I went into thinking that this was gonna be fine, but as I noticed that everything was light and dark all over, and so I really didn't distinguish the light and darks on this one. So I got to the point where I like, oh boy, and I totally kind of overworked it, but I just kept on going, and I could always make things work in the end, but then it doesn't have that freshness that it normally gets. So what I did is I took it in when I got home. The first thing I did was make a no tan with this. I made this out of it, and so I am gonna show you that all the foreground stuff, the lights and the little ornaments that are shiny, and everything that's gonna be a white, and the background's gonna be dark. That's what I didn't do this afternoon, and sometimes we do this myself. I make a mistake once in a while too, and it was one of those things. I was like, um, like, oh boy, I never even looked at to think of what the good pattern of light and dark were, and here I am. I'm constantly explaining that to you that's what you have to do, and so we didn't do that. So we're gonna do this afternoon. So let's see who's all here. I know there was Marion from Australia. We have Pat, Dave, Sue, Evie, Darcy, Barbara, hey Barbie, and Jean, Kathy, and Tina. So thanks, guys. Thanks for coming by. And let me just go to my website here. Not to my website, to the tabletop. So here's what I did this afternoon, and it looks okay. I mean, it is fine, but I kept on doing all kinds of things to make it better and better and better, and trying to make it better. And I did use different kind of colors, but right away, if you look at this part, let me just show you right here. If you look at this right here, the picture, look at how red it was and how warm it was, and that's what I was going for in the very beginning. The first wash was all this pink of her, and everything was pink, and it just was. This is like the third wash, and so it just didn't work out. But then I went back in, and this is about, I think this layer right here was the fourth layer, this dark, because I was not getting dark enough, and everything was about this value right here. And so what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to try to differentiate and make it cleaner. I mean, this is pretty worked at, and you know, it's fine. Like I said, it's fine, but it's not what I wanted it to be. And I put this circle of confusion circles in with rubbing it out, and I did it on a board, and it wasn't coming back to white, so I painted them with almost opaques, and so that also doesn't look very nice. And but anyways, so we're gonna try to do a little bit differently this time, and I'm just gonna look for my Notan, black and white, and so I'll put this back up there because I don't want to be persuaded by the colors of everything being that one color of warmth, and which is fine if you want to do it that way, but definitely look for your lights and darks. I mean, I keep on telling you guys that, and here I don't even do that this afternoon. And so here I have the paper, and I don't have it mounted on a board because it's 300 pound. I just want to see what I can do without that. And so let me get the air out of the way here. Let's turn that off real quick. And so there's where you're gonna go. Let me see how the beer tastes. And so a watermelon mint Hefeweizen beer from Schufferhuffer. Schufferhuffer. So there's the beer. And cheers, everybody. Cheers. Wow, that's an interesting taste. That is so different. That is definitely a different taste. Very good, though. I like that. It's a very sweet. It's pretty sweet, but you know me, I like sweet. But yeah, it's not bad. I'm going to give that about a 10. That's really good. I like that. It's definitely something good when you're around like the ocean on a beach, which we should be, right? Because I'm sure Marion from Sydney, with 80 degrees right now, would really love this beer on a beach. All right, so let's get going. And so again, I'm going to follow. What am I going to follow? I'm going to follow the lights, which are these lights. And I am not going to put black back here, but I am going to make that parts dark afterwards. So I'll be working, you know, all these like the ornaments and the lights first, and then put in, and some of these lights I have to do, and I have to do while I'm doing the dark. So the first thing I'm going to do is the Ballerina. So let's just go right away into the Ballerina and get her colored up. And where's my eraser here? Hold on a second. Where the heck is my eraser? Because I kind of want to erase a little bit of that black line right there. Don't know where it is. Oh well. I guess I'm not going to erase it. All right, so let's get in there right away in my dirty palette here. Let's get a little bit of room. As you can tell, I was going into getting a lot of purple because purple fixes everything. Happy Thursday, Pamela. Happy Thursday, Pamela. All right, so with the flesh tones I get with pink, and one of my students in my class said, well, I don't have pink. How do I make pink? And I go, well, any red and white. You know, so you can make a pink with white, but then I put a little orange into it to make it more of a flesh tone, kind of, a little salmon-y color. And I'm not wetting it first. I'm just going to go right into... I know this is kind of like not the big part, but it is the big part of the lights because this is sort of like the most important part. So I'm just going to go right in there and just get her colors of her flesh right in there. And it's kind of a big area. I mean, and there's a little bit of opera right there too. A little opera helps it really get a nice and flesh tony. That's a word. And I still want to make her outfit. I'm going to make it more into the purples and not make it so that everything, her dress, and the dress is basically flowers. There's an ornament that looks like a little flowery. And so what I want to do is I want to make it a little bit different from how I did this afternoon because what was happening was the dress and her flesh tones all were one, and everything was one. I mean, even these ornaments were also pink, and so everything was pink, and nothing was standing out, and everything was standing out. You know, it was not a good painting this afternoon until I went over and over and over. And I normally don't like doing that, going over and over, because, you know, that's not what you're supposed to be doing as a teacher. But that happened. You're watching from Metra. you're on the train home, going home. I used to take Metra for many, many years. Boy, that was the best thing that happened when I stopped taking it because I took it for over 30 years. I took Metra downtown Chicago, and it was just a lot of going downtown. I'll be using some of this purple, I think, for the dress, and I can put a little bit of that in there now too. A little lavender and purple, and I've been doing a couple of scenes for myself and I've been using some of this granular pigment from Daniel Smith, which hopefully Holbein is going to be making some of that. But it's really interesting. It's very pigmented, and it kind of shows big heavy pigment and granulation. And though they make some granulation pigment, which I haven't had a chance to really make work well for me. I don't know how to make it work. The pigmented, like you add it to your watercolor. For some reason, it doesn't do that. But that's how come you see some of this in here. I just tried it and wanted to see what it was like. All right, and so there's a little bit of violet this time. And now let's go right away into our lights that are in the back, part of our bulbs here. So that I'll go for my big stuff. And right away I'm going to put in some of the darks right away because you have to, because you got to get the soft edge. And so I'll wet that area. And I will be using a circle template later on for the circle of confusion circles over the lights, and I'll rub them out. But that'll be for later. Oh, you went from the palette and chisel? Yep, that's where I used to teach, at the palette and chisel downtown Chicago. I used to go down all the time. I mean, every day for how many years I went down to work, and then I would teach at the palette and chisel. Kind of miss it a little bit, you know, from all the years I went down there. And actually, 2 classes that we started were the start of the school at the palette and chisel. That I was on the board, and we started the school basically there with another. I'm blanking out for his name. Oh man, I can't believe I'm blanking his name. Anyways, but we started the school down there. And so I'm putting a little bit lavender in there. I'm just going to kind of go around the lights. And then use my round brush because I'm going to really be drawing those lights. And I want to make the background right away dark. And so I'm going to use a green because it's a Christmas tree. So I figure it's going to be green, very dark green. But there's all these lights that are going to be colorful, like reds and all kinds of different colors. And so, unless we just make it white lights, maybe we just do that. I don't want to get so many colors in here. I'm just going to make it white light. And so, but the red will be from the red. We're going to make these really bright red, those, the ornaments. So see how I am going right away into it dark, but this way the lights can shine. It'll look like the light is shining. And to make it dark, you have to put those in. I mean, there's no, you have to put them in right away. You cannot put in the light first and then come back. I would have to wait for it to dry, but we don't have enough time for that. So we're just going to go in here with a nice dark, enough pigment. I'm going to try to make it look not so, and try to get some of these needles in there too right away. So you see how I'm working one area, and I don't go leaving that area until I feel I have it the way I want it. And like I said, I'm going to put other colors in there, just drop them in there to make it look like there's, you know, little lights in the background. So that'll look like it's lit up. And one thing I didn't do this afternoon was make it dark enough so that when I did the circle of confusion that they would stick out. And so now I want to make them dark enough so that it will stick out enough so that you can actually rub something out. And here's really dark. Yes, it's definitely a little bit different than I normally work. The large lights, but this doesn't have any large lights, and so they're more smaller lights, and so you're kind of doing both together at the same time. Something you got to do sometimes, and is that you can't always follow the same formula for every painting if the painting doesn't give you the option of doing that. And so let's wet this. If you have questions, please let me know. I'll look up in once in a while and see what I can see. We're going to use a really nice, a lot of red here. Put a nice red ornament right here. And you really don't see the ornament in the black and white because it's more it's a dark red, and you do see a couple of hits like right here of light hitting the ornament. And so I'm going to get a lot of dark color in there. I'm moving this palette here so much. And then of course it's like a mirror, so it's going to reflect all the other colors. And again, you see how I'm just going downwards, and I'm going to get those areas done. I'm going to just keep on trying to get the areas done as I'm going along. I don't jump around. Don't jump around. It's one of the worst things you could do, because then everything's going to be spotted and something's dry when you don't want it to be dry. Here I'm going to get the needles going in there. I did some negative painting needles, and it just did not work out very well. I mean, I had the they didn't look good. So we're gonna get a little bit of lavender in here too. And I gotta get a little bit closer, and I gotta be a little more careful because I am going around. And like I could always mask off the lady after I had gotten her done. If like you're doing it a certain way, some people would like to mask everything. I could paint her, then mask her out, and then just do these big washes over everything. But you have to do it on a certain kind of paper too, because this Stonehenge, it would rip like crazy, so I wouldn't want to do it on this paper. And starting to go in here. And just keep on bringing in colors and objects in the wet in the wet. This is my large darks wet in the wet. Nice reds in here. This is going to reflect, you know, it's going to reflect a little bit of her in there too. So we got to add some pink in here. So I'm just going to take some pink, some thick pink, and just going to put it right here so that it reflects. It's going to reflect her into the glass, because this is an ornament, so it's going to reflect her into there, and so it's going to be kind of purplish. And so I might as well put that in there right now. Put a little bit on her, so that'll be up here. And that pink I just put in there before, you want to put that in there too. Look at how light that's getting already. So I gotta hurry up, make sure I get the areas done before they dry. Let's get a little bit of lighter green in here for the light parts that I can negative paint around later. Look at how much paint I'm using. I mean, I'm using lots of paint because I've got to get really dark right away while it's wet, and so that gives me a soft edge around the lights. You can also drop some water into this area. Kathy asked what color green am I using. I don't have a color green, so I mix my greens with quinacridone gold. So I'm just using quinacridone gold with any of my blues. So I'm using, for my dark greens, I use Prussian blue and quinacridone gold. And for my light greens, I use this, you know, Compose green with a little quinacridone gold, and see how nice green you get. Like, I don't like the store-bought greens except for leaf green. I kind of like leaf green. And I'm putting together a new palette for myself, the metal one, the tin one, that hopefully I'll be, look at my shape of my thing here, get kind of, let's get it a little bit darker. Alright, let's see if we can get a little bit more of the red in here, stop the water from running so much. And we can also rub out some of these lights. Like I totally forgot about this light right up here I was going to put in. I could put like water, I can put water there and do like a, rub it out a little bit. I can do that. So I'll rub that out a little bit. And put on here. Well, it's not curling, Tina, because it's 300-pound paper, and yeah, I just basically forgot because I was kind of late in getting everything set up here. And let's get these, and you can also scrape in a little bit of the needles. I don't want this to be hard edged right there. I kind of want this to be soft. So I'm just going to take my paper towel and just rub down. And then put back water in the middle, and then it'll spread out. It's going to spread out. It's going to spread outwards because it's still all kind of damp, and so it'll give me kind of a halo effect, which will be fine. I can also use my light blue, yellow, and that makes a little bit of a green, and so I can put that into the darks, and that'll give me a little look of little pine needles. It's in wet wash, so it'll be fine. And I gotta be really careful when I get close to the lady here, the ballerina, because I do have to go a little bit closer, and that's why I have this really nice brush that gives me a really nice fine point. And I can have a little bit of a white halo around her too. That's fine. And I can come back in also. Look at the nice. Look at the when I put the water in. I'm getting those little what do you call those? Little fingers that I call them. Fingers going there. Now the problem is I should have stopped here, went one way and the other way, because now I got to go jump back and forth, which is not a great thing to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wipe this area here, hoping that that'll stay wet and leave that soft edge. And I'll finish this go around this way, because jumping back and forth is not the way you want to do this. So now let's take my bigger brush and wet a little bit farther ahead here. Wet the surface of the ornament. Come down through here. Add water. You know me and floating pigment. You gotta float it at first. Large areas floating it. Okay, see how I'm not gonna work back and forth. It's not a good thing to do. So I'm gonna keep this wet here just to make sure that it doesn't dry hard edged. You can also scrape. I can use my palette knife. You can also scrape. Let's say you want to have a few of these. Let's see, you gotta have certain timing. It's all too wet, so I can't scrape there now. It has to be a certain wetness to it. So let's take a blue again, dark blue and yellow, quinacridone gold, really dark green. Going down. You know, see how fast I went into my darks, because there's not much light, and the lights are incorporated with the darks. And so, and then something I didn't do this afternoon was I just started everything light, but then everything was light, and then when I get into my darks, I didn't go dark enough, and it was just not a good, not a good afternoon. I didn't do such a good job this afternoon. It was not the best demonstration I've ever given a class. But again, they always feel like they're the guinea pigs, and they are. The first painting is always one that, you know, if I never done it before, and for some reason I just didn't feel like I needed to see the black and white or something. I'm not sure. Sometimes that happens. And you really, it shows you how important that the value pattern is, and the lights and darks, how important they are. I can't stress it enough. I mean, that's what makes a good painting, is the layout, the design of your light and darks, or colors even. And there's a nice little ornament, and I'm just going to get some lights in here. I'm just going to pull them out here and there. And again, I'm going to get a little bit of pink, because she'll be reflected right there. Then I can get a really dark purple. Put a dark purple in. And then little details like hangers and stuff like that, that can all come later. First I gotta get the big washes, like always. You gotta get the big washes in there. And she'll just pop out now, because she's gonna have a nice hard edge around her, and she's just gonna pop out perfectly this time. Okay, a little bit of, I'm gonna throw a little purple in here. Just to get some different colors besides just the green. You know, you want to get some other colors, because these lights are banging off of the red, you know, going into with the green, and so they're creating colors, and they'll be at the light areas, and this is all wet. What's right here? These are all lights now, so let's see what we can do. First we'll get a nice light green, so yellow and blue. And I'll go in here and get a nice light green for some of the foliage or needles. Then I get some really dark to show that this is a light. around the light again. And later on, I may have to put in some like gouache type of thickness so that I can get back some of the reflections. Hey, Shanna. Yeah, Christmas paintings are fun. This one was not that fun though. This afternoon, I wasn't. It was like it was not working well this afternoon. I was like, oh boy, but that happens sometimes, and it makes you really think. You know, you got to think when you're painting. You know, just copying a photograph is, you know, not the way to do it. You know, I always think that, oh yeah, I know what to do. You know, and I just wasn't thinking. I was just basically doing my thing where I go light to dark, but I never really looked at the picture enough to see that there wasn't a good value pattern. It was all, everything on the picture was not exactly perfect for, you know, background being dark and the foreground stuff being light. And let's go in here. This is a light right there. And some of these I'm just going to pull out with the circle of confusion circles. Circle of confusion circles are those, you know, photographers use, and you get these, you know, those circles of light. And so that's what we're going to do for that, the circles of confusion circles. And I'm going to show you how to, at the end, how to take those out when it's dry. And you'll get, look at that. I mean, I love that. It's like a snowflake. So blue again, and some darker colors here to, I'm kind of going with the dark more than negative painting this time. Because last time I was doing a lot of negative painting, but you don't really need a negative paint if the thing in the background is darker. You know, I'm just going to make the pine needles dark against, and then the stuff in the foreground is the light. That value study, it's so important. It's just so important. Now here, again, I missed that light, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take water, put it on here, get a thirsty brush. And how do you get a thirsty brush? You take it on your paper towel, you get rid of all the water, and you just suck up the water and the pigment. See, I'm just sucking it up and just turning it. Just picking it right up. Then I can drop some water in there, and it's going to push and give me those little fingers. See, I just put a lot of water in there, and I can absorb a little bit of it, but it's gonna take off and go into those areas and just give it that round look. Same thing I'm gonna do here. I'm just gonna give it some water. Same thing here. It's a round. This is gonna be the light. This is like you're playing in a big puddle of water. I mean, it's really fun to take out this much pigment and just have fun with it. You know, see what you can get for lights and darks, and I'll get the hard edges later. I'm not getting any hard edges right now. I'm just going for all the soft edges. I'll bring it around this way, get more green in here. This is my favorite thing about watercolor in general, is the fact that a wet into wet wash, and it just kind of does its own thing. You know, sometimes you never know what you're going to get, and it gives you usually the best stuff is when it's wet into wet, and you're making these things happen. And if you get things like these little fingers and snowflakes and stuff, that's all gravy. I love that. And really, I could get these later on with the circle of confusion circles, but I'm just trying to get some of them right away. All right, so now we're going to go up this way. So I'll wet that area with my big brush again. Work it a little bit faster. Slowing down here. What time is it? It's not 7 yet, so we're good. So we're gonna put this like this. Yeah, I'm not working on a board, which is kind of interesting because it has a little bit of a wave, but I've got to get used to working on flat without the tape all the way around, because I just want to work on more on boards that are certain sizes, so that we can just frame them without mat boards. I mean, that's my big thing in trying to get all of you to do the same, so that you can sell your paintings for more, and just wax them and just get them all done. And you can instantly put them in frames, and you're done. So let's get really dark here with a nice purple. purple and green work really well together. A dark purple and green, it really makes the green beautiful. You can see right here, there's a purple, there's a green. Look how nicely they match together. They're just really well together. Purple is like a red, and so red and green are complements. So it works well together. And so this will be a large, I like these little round dots, but I'm gonna probably paint those in later. And I'm gonna make this again a red bulb ornament. And the light goes right down the middle here. I'm not sure why I do that. I gotta remember to leave whites sometimes. Let's just suck that up again. Let's get some opera in there. Look at that opera. That's pink. Ooh. Put a little orange on there. This orange and this opera paint together make a really cool, nice color. Really vibrant. Now this is a dark area, so this is way too light. So we're going to go in with a really dark purple in there. And just kind of hit it with the red and purple. And also red in the corner. You know, I don't want your eye to go over here that much. And those dots in the corner, you know, I'm going to bring them up a little bit, I think. And I'm just going to put them in with opaque colors. I'm not going to, I mean, you could put masking fluid down and all that, but I'm just going to put them in with opaques. And this could be her in there. That's probably what that is in the ornament. It's her showing right into the ornament right here. All right, now back to my round, because I like to draw with my round more. And so this area is all really just dark. So that's a good place to get a lot of nice color in there. And let's put some purple in there. A lot of pigment. You need a lot of pigment to make it not run all over the place. See how this is all really wet, but if I put a lot of pigment in my brush, lots and lots, I can control it to make a nice hard edge. Now this is dry, she's dry, so I can definitely make a hard edge there. That's easy. I'm just gonna take a little, put some needles in there, here and there. Any questions? Susie Snowflake. Oh yeah, that's perfect. I'm not sure if you're not from the Chicagoland area. I wonder if they had Susie Snowflake. We had that in WGN, and but yeah, that was a fun little. Here comes Susie Snowflake. All right. So this year on my house, I bought this strip lighting. It's like tape, and basically I can make my house any color. I have to put I'm going to show it when I get it all done. But it's a little white strip of tape that has LEDs on it, and you can make any color you want, absolutely any color. And on my phone, you use an app, and it's supposed to be only for inside, but I made it outside. I put it underneath the eaves, and I'm figuring it's going to look great. But so yeah, I can make my and I can also I can have music playing, and it will light up and down. The lights, the strip of LEDs would just light up and on and off with the sound of the music. And there's like 4 different settings for that. I'm like, I can't wait to try out some of this. So every day I can do a different color. Being an artist, it's kind of neat being able to do any color you want on your house. Now it is not the dangling lights or anything like that. It's just a strip light, so it's just straight. But I got them on Amazon, and I think it's gonna be pretty cool. All right, some green, some little bit lighter green. Some blue. I hope you guys can do this one. This one, I know, like I said, they had a hard time, though a couple of people did some pretty good job. They did some nice things. We had one, Beth did probably better than I did. You know, she had a really nice one. Now this would be round. And so sometimes watch these little areas that you had done. Like this is starting to get bleed in a little bit, so I'm going to take a little bit of a thirsty brush and round it off again. Look at all the great colors in here. Isn't that great? That purple. This is bright violet, and I don't think I had it on my list. I just started putting in. I'm going to start using a few more other colors that I've never used before. I just ordered a bunch of them from Holbein. And so we're going to try some different colors. Because you tend to always use the same colors over and over again, which is good. You know, it's good to learn. But there's times when it's kind of neat to see and try other colors too. So next week's newsletter is going to be about whites. And I ordered 4, I think, different kind of whites. And actually they're gouache. And also the watercolor whites. But mostly gouache. And I'm going to see how they are. Or how they work. Because I don't know the difference between a zinc and a permanent, and there's all these different whites, and so I'm going to see what they're like and how they mix and how they cover. No questions? Come on, guys, you can ask a question. Go ahead. Water here. Oh, I should make some of these lights red. Oh, I said I was going to make them all white, didn't I? Yeah, we're going to make them all white. Because she has a lot of white on her, so I think it's only best that we keep some of this white in there. So that it kind of reflect what she is. You know how light her flesh tone got too, but she's going to, that way is good because then I can go into shadowing it. So here we're going to let this be wet and kind of bleed in. A little yellow. And this actually, let's put a little yellow in there too. That's from like the green. Kind of gives it a neat look. This is way too light. I'm not sure what I did there. So let's cover that up a little bit. That's some hard edges, but then you know you want it to look not so hard edged. Thanks, Maria. Okay, so let's get some really dark, not details yet, but let me just get a few. There's a bunch of needles right here. And those can reflect into mirror of the bulb ornament. Same thing here. Look how dark that is. See, I can just. Oh, I'm just going to show you how to scrape. So if you want some light ones, I'm just going to scrape this a little bit with a palette knife. You know, a cheap palette knife. You know, the plastic ones are best. If you start getting the metal ones, they can almost wreck your paper too. Just a nice little plastic or credit card, old credit card, hotel room key. You can just scrape a little bit. Let's scrape a few of those little needles in there. Now you gotta remember they're gonna be light, and so there's times you don't want them to be light, and there's ones that are at you, that are kind of coming at you. And you can, I've noticed that sometimes you can re-wet an area to get that, so let me just show you. I'm just gonna take my big brush here, and I'm just gonna wet an area here. I just want to show you that you can re-wet an area just with your brush like this. And I'll reactivate it like we did before, and then I can scrape back out there too. Usually you can reactivate it. See how I can just go back in. Especially if it's like hot pressed paper where you're sitting on top more, it's not soaking in. You can get some of the scrapings of the needles. And that's a way of, instead of doing negative painting, just scrape them. You know, it's just as nice. Up here too, I'm going to take a little bit of water back on there. You have to wait a second to let it reactivate and let it wet it, and then go ahead and all right. And remember, this is almost this is detail stage pretty much now. Though, if you're doing detail like that, that's detail stage. So let's go into her first and let's get her done before we start getting all the big stuff, because we have to know how detailed she's going to get before we go into how detailed this area is going to be. Okay, so the tree looks not looking too bad. Now let's see what we can do with her. where is she? She's so she's got pretty dark shadows on her face. So again, we're gonna go and get some pink, some Jean number 4, or is it number 2? Jean number 2, I think, which is kind of like a flesh tone color. A little bit of pink. And now I'm going to go for the shadowing part of her. And she's kind of in shadow. And so this side of her, that's going to have to be a little bit darker than that. So a little bit of orange. I'm just going to kind of go on this side. And she's actually, this side of her, light's coming from this way, going in this way. And that's almost too dark. Okay, and then we're going to go into her face. Her face is pretty much all in shadow except for underneath her eye. And it's not, you're not going to be doing like a big portrait thing or anything like that. You're just going to show a little bit of underneath her eye in the one. And then, like you show her chin. And then let's just show a little bit of underneath her nose. And actually she's got, like her eye is actually dark, and then you got her cheek on the other side here. And then let's see, her whole chest is all dark, but I'm going to keep this side a little bit lighter. Okay, and then her whole arm here has a little bit. You know, if you want to show that extreme light, then you have to kind of follow what you see in the picture, because it is kind of extreme. Like it's really dark on the one side and it's really light on the other side, so that's kind of an extreme lighting situation. And it really doesn't have to be flesh tone, because it is just a little ornament that is probably, doesn't have to look like real flesh tone. It can just be pink and like plastic, or you know, whatever you want to make it look like. It doesn't have to be flesh, because it's not real. It's not a real person. It's an ornament. So don't be afraid of just making whatever color you want, as long as you have the light dark, the right darks and lights. And then let's see, this arm is all in the light and it's lit from underneath. See, there's lighting coming from up underneath here. And then let's get her hair really dark, and of course I'm going to make it red. So she's going to have dark amber red hair. All right, and then I'm going to give her a little bun in the back there. Let's not make her ears stick out too far. All right, and so her hand looks like it's all really light. So let's do her dress now, and let's get these little flowers in here. And so for that, we're going to get like a lilac color, and purples, and pinks. Wipe off a little part of my palette so I get some fresh color here, because I did all that green. So there's a little lilac, and so we're going to go in here, and this part is a little bit darker. And so let's make her actually reddish and pink dress. And so she's got little wings on her arms here, like the little part of the dress is winged a little bit. And then chest right here, we're going to make it a nice lavender color, different from the flesh tone like I did last time. It didn't work so well. So this time it'll separate from her flesh tone, which is, I didn't do that last time. And I can also use a purple, a nice darker purple to go with that, to make it a little bit darker underneath her hand here. Yeah, this is much fresher than my last one. Oh man, the last one was not so good. Yes, every gray paint has red hair. Red or black, one or the other. Either it's all red or solid black hair. It's very works better that way for the composition. side a little bit darker. So these are supposed to be like roses, like they're kind of like a rose type of thing. So I always go for a round circle in the center, and I just start going around it with different colors, not different colors, with different values to show like the rose. And over here, the whole dress is a little bit in shadow, so that's gonna be darker. And then I put it even darker over here later. And as it goes to this side, it gets a little bit lighter. And so you're just going to hit it with a little lavender or lilac, I mean. And then I always find the center of the flower first. And I kind of circle around it. See, there's the center. And then I just kind of put little lines here and there. And then where it separates the different, I can put a little bit darker in there. And this area happens to be really light, and so it really punches forward. Can you see that? It's almost too light on my monitor. You can see a little bit of it. It's so bright. And there's the center, and then just go outwards, center. If you don't want to make this look like it's an ornament on a tree, and you just want to make it look like, you can make it almost like the dark background with lights, like it sees you on stage. You can do that too, if you don't want to do a tree, like a Christmas card or a holiday card type of thing, or you can always just make it a ballerina on a stage with these little lights, and then don't put any ornaments in, and just make them on a stage and put like what do you call it, shadows on there. That could be kind of fun too. So now I'm going a little bit darker right here, at the same time making this look like some of the needles. Right in between your hand here. So you can see it helps me make your eye come here to see her more than anything else, because she's the center of interest, the ballerina. So we want to keep her the center of interest. Here, the lights here. This goes sideways now. A little bit darker again. Let me get some real purple here, some really dark purple, and then I can do that on this side for this flower. And I can do it while it's wet so that it looks soft edged. Her hand looks kind of weird. Let's get a little bit more of that shadowing on her hand. So a little bit orange. A little bit darker on top of her arm. Here, his finger, make it a little bit smaller. Now, shadows on her leg. Go start with purple first. I'm just going to throw a little shadow across here. Let me give her purple slippers, dance slippers, or lilac. Let's make them pink. And then I put them little laces, X's. They're not on there. I don't see their X's on the. I'm just pretending like I know what these look like. So little X's on there. Pink, a little bit darker for her reflection or shadowing. I'm going to make her lips pink. Just two little lines. And then her nose actually is white. On the picture, it's just a white dot. And her eyes are just a black dot. And so again, you're not doing a portrait. You're just doing an ornament, so you don't make a dot for eyes. That's it. That's all you need. You don't need to go in there crazy with, you know, trying to get everything to look like it's a person. It's not a person, it's an ornament. So enough that you just put in a little dot for the eye. I'll put a little bit of a string on the top of her head here. A little dark string here. And then up here I will go with my rigger brush to make a little bit more of a, this is a great brush to make pine needles, boy, because it's basically, it looks like a pine needle, this brush. So watch this, I'm just gonna, oops, you can't see it, can you? So here, I watch this, I'm gonna side a little bit. A little bit of water, put one line in there, and then just do little pine needles. This used to be when I was in school, this was always my favorite brush. I would sometimes do the whole painting with just a rigger brush because I just love making lines all over the place. And this, like I said, makes great pine needles. So, you know, there's a lot of pine needles on this thing, and you can also put them into the, you can put them into here by just showing that reflecting into the ornament, because there's gonna be reflections of things in the ornament, right? Because they are like glass, and so they're like a mirror. And okay, I think that's pretty good for. This didn't turn out very well with the flower on the dark part of her. My screen I can't tell. Oh, there you can see. Boy, it's just really light. See right there? Got all the nice flowers in there. When I put it down, you don't. It's all like blown out. All right. So now let's get some more details in what area? Let me show you how to do the circle confusion circles since it's starting to dry here. And so I'm just going to take I made this myself. I cut circles out of a plastic, piece of plastic. You can find, or Yupo paper. Yupo paper is plastic paper. You can actually cut it out of that. So get yourself a sheet of plastic paper. Take a little X-Acto knife. I do have a compass that had a blade on it, so I can just make really beautiful circles. You also can buy circle templates too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them over some of these areas. Take a magic eraser. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, dip it in the water. I just dipped it in my water here. Get all the water out of it though, because you're just going to be rubbing. You're just going to rub. You're going to take it like this and just rub it back and forth across the paper. You're going to get rid of all the color, and then you just lift it up and see how it gives it a little circle. Now I did that one separate from these areas. You can go over it, but then I'm going to darken that. So I don't want to do that. I would, like here, this one can be a little bit darker. Because what happens, it also takes the color that's there and kind of goes over the white. And so I'm going to rub it very lightly, just rub it. And now it's a little bit lighter. And some of these I don't have to do that too because it already looks good. So I'm not going to finish those. What happens is these are the Christmas lights that are really vibrant and bright, and they're out of focus. And where I was gonna put one right, so that one's there. Let's put one right here, like behind this. You can do half of one too. Like it's just shining. I can put one over here, and always use the same size. Don't be putting in sizes that are different sizes. You know, it looks weird. I've tried it. It looks weird. You can always wipe off your stencil before you go to the next one. Like I see what happened there. I made a little smudge there, and see if I can get rid of that. That's okay. And this is still wet right there, so I can't go there. But I need to have one right here. So I blot it and I pick it up. Get a nice little. This I'm gonna tone this down too. Wonder if I can do something on the actual. I never tried it on the ornament. Let's try it on the ornament. Like part of it, like just get a hard edge. That was dumb. It doesn't look so good. Well, you gotta try. You gotta try. You gotta see. Where else can I put one? One on the edge right here. Again, dry it on. That's come in so nice to use a towel on your workspace because then you can just wipe it off of there. One right there. You should have two of these. One for wiping and one for blotting up the water. Now it's too many, right? I'm going crazy with these. Let's see, this looks kind of weird right here. Get a little bit of color in here. I should follow what I had. Don't be putting extra ones in because I really worked hard on seeing where I should be putting these circles in. And so I did have a circle right here. I didn't have anything here though. That one I just put in because now it's like 3, 4 right there. That's okay because I really like. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show one thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put the light in there too. So I'm going to take, usually the wires are green, right? They're a dark green. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put like a little bit of the top of, or the bottom of the wire and then show, like that's where the bulb comes from. And then I'm going to put the wires elsewhere. So I'm going to do them in a couple places here. Alright, and then, does that look too weird? Let me see. You can put a wire in there, that's fine. Little wire coming back and forth to the next place. Hide it. And then put a light color. Like I'm going to make these like a little bit more yellowish. Oh, that's too dark. Oh, man. Like you can see the part of the light. I need to clean my yellow. You really need a yellow that's light and one that's dark. One that you use for mixing and one that you use plain and pure. Let's do a little pink. Like that's the bulb. Like it's shining. I'm not sure that would actually happen, but I'm gonna try it. You know, you gotta try things. One up here. And now my final thing to do, 2 minutes left, is I'm gonna take white, pure white, and I'm just going to highlight things to make them, let's get this nice and clean, this white. Make it look shiny. I mean, that's one thing about when some things are shiny and bright, like here we're going to put little dots. And that's what makes it look shiny is by having, and even like the ornament itself has this metal and I'm sure it's a little shiny. She can have a little shininess to her like on the edges. Even put the lights in there. We can put the light like it's shining. Especially like the ornaments with them when they have the light on there, and because that's what happens. It's a mirror, and she can be like that can be real big, like it's actually shining of her. Any last questions? I'm going to put a little white on her nose. Go underneath her eye a little bit. Nice line on her rim lighting a little bit. Whoa, that's too thick. I think that's about it, guys. Let's put a little light right there. You can also twinkle some lights here and there, little dots. I think that's about it. Can't see anything else, unless you guys see something. And again, I'm sorry that this is blown out, and on my monitor this is blown out, like it's all white, but that's got some, it's got some thing on it. See, when I go sideways, I must have my lighting too light today. All right, cheers, everybody! Cheers to a holiday card. And like I said, you don't have to make it a holiday card either. You can always make it the ballerina on stage. Here's how you're trying this, and show me what you did with this. This is a hard one, I must say. It was hard for me, and even this one, it wasn't exactly how I wanted it, because I'm not sure yet if this is a good composition. I'm not sure if I made the dark background so dark. It really lovely. Looks like the shadow cast in the reference photo is like a mask. Yeah, I kind of like that too, but that's really dark, and I would have to make it really dark like that. You guys try it. You know, try to make her maybe make it that dark. You know, if you can make that part really dark. And I'm gonna keep it the way it is, and I don't see anything else I need to do except for sign it right here. Yes. So next week we're gonna be talking about white paint in the newsletter, so sign up for that if you're not signed up, and give it a shot, give it a try. You can do also, maybe don't do this big. This is a quarter sheet. Maybe don't, and it's also, I didn't tape it, so it's all the way to the edges, and let's see, away from the edge. So where's the old one? So this is the one this right now, and this is the one for this afternoon. So a little different. This one looks like it's like an explosion, a birthday party. So this one's not. This one, like I said, this one didn't work out as like. And look how much bigger it is. It's a little bit bigger because it was on a board, and so fun. All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you next time, and we'll see you then. Have a great one. Bye bye.